Today, we're diving into one of the biggest what-ifs in all of geopolitics. What happens after the Ayatollah? I mean, what really follows the death of Iran's supreme leader?
Just think about that for a second. We're talking about a leader who controls the military, the foreign policy, the entire ideology of a nation of over 80 million people. So, if Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei were to die tomorrow, would Iran just collapse? Would a massive war break out? Or could something much bigger and way more unpredictable be set in motion? To even start to get our heads around those questions, we have to understand the system itself. And, more importantly, the immense, almost absolute power that's all concentrated in this one single role, the supreme leader. See, this isn't like a president or a prime minister who has checks and balances. The role of the supreme leader was designed, from the ground up, to be the final word on everything. He is the ultimate authority both politically and religiously, on everything that matters. And the sheer scope of that power is just staggering. We're talking total control over the military, including the super powerful Revolutionary Guards. He has the final say on the country's nuclear program. He sets the course for foreign policy, appoints all the top judges. Heck, even the elected president ultimately has to answer to him. The entire system is built around this one man.
Okay, so with so much power piled up in one place, you'd assume there's a rock-solid succession plan, right? Well, there is one on paper. But as we're about to see, that official process has a critical and potentially catastrophic flaw baked right into it. The official process looks pretty straightforward. Step 1, the supreme leader passes away. Step 2, a group of 88 clerics called the Assembly of Experts gets together. And step 3, they talk it over and pick the next leader. Simple, clean, orderly. Or so you'd think. Yeah, it's not that simple at all. And this right here is the heart of the problem. There is no heir apparent. There is no single person waiting in the wings who has anything close to the same level of authority or respect that Khamenei does. So you take that lack of a clear successor, and you mix it with two other really volatile ingredients. First, you've got these powerful, deeply divided factions inside the regime who are all going to want a piece of the action. And second, you've got a population that has already shown, through massive protests, that it is deeply unhappy. It is, quite literally, a perfect recipe for a crisis. So let's trace the shockwaves of that crisis. We'll start with the very first ripple, the immediate, chaotic power struggle that would absolutely erupt inside Iran itself. You'd immediately see these three major groups start to clash. You've got the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC. They're a massive military and economic powerhouse, and you can bet their goal is to seize ultimate control. Then you have the traditional clerics, and they'll be fighting to preserve the religious nature of the state above all else. And finally, you've got all the political elites in the government all scrambling to hold on to their influence in whatever new order emerges. It would be a messy, high-stakes battle for the soul of the country. And this fight at the top, it wouldn't be happening in a bubble. A moment of leadership chaos would be seen by millions of Iranians as a historic opportunity. The huge protests we've seen in recent years could explode, with citizens flooding the streets to demand real democratic change. But a crisis this big would never stay inside Iran's borders. The second ripple would send instability shooting across the entire Middle East, putting the whole region on a knife's edge. You see, Iran has spent decades building up this whole network of powerful proxy forces across the region. Groups like Hezbollah in Lebanon, militias in Iraq and Syria, the Houthis in Yemen. These guys aren't just allies, they're basically extensions of Iranian power. They depend on Tehran for money, for weapons, for their marching orders. And that leads to a really unsettling question. What do all these heavily armed groups do when their central command in Tehran is in total chaos? Do they lash out, get more aggressive just to prove they're still relevant? Or does the whole network just start to fracture and fall apart? Either way, it spells extreme danger for the entire region. And the impact doesn't even stop there. The final ripple is a global shockwave, as every major world power would be forced to react and completely recalculate their strategies in real time. The potential for things to escalate and escalate fast is enormous. The United States might see a moment of weakness and decide to ramp up the pressure. Israel, terrified of an unpredictable Iran with a nuclear program, might decide a preemptive military strike is their only option. And Iran's biggest rival, Saudi Arabia, would go on high alert immediately, beefing up its defenses.
And look, this isn't just about military moves. For a huge global economy like India, this is a direct threat. Any instability in the Middle East puts crucial oil imports and trade routes at risk. That can have a very real, very painful impact on its economy and its people. So, with all these forces, internal, regional, and global, colliding at once, what's the end game? Let's walk through 4 possible futures for Iran. Okay, scenario 1. The hardline military takes over. The IRGC seizes power, and you get an even more aggressive, more confrontational Iran. Scenario 2 is the long shot, a reformist government, where moderates somehow gain control and actually open up talks with the West. Scenario 3, well, that's the nightmare. Internal collapse. The power struggle and the protests just spiral into years of instability. And finally, there's the chance of a smooth transition, where the system works, a new leader is chosen, and it's all just business as usual.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? The stakes are absolutely immense. This isn't just some internal political event for one country. Its outcome literally has the power to redraw the map of one of the most volatile and important regions on Earth. So we'll end on this thought. There is profound uncertainty about what's next for Iran, but one thing is for sure. In geopolitics, power vacuums are never, ever empty for long. The only question is, who or what is going to rush in to fill this one?